right, and welcome to Fast Break Breakfast NBA Podcast. My name is Keith, here once again with my buddy John through the miracle of computer phone, and Chuck had a big lottery night. Don't know where he is.
What would I be without Chuck?
John.
Yeah. That's my Ja Morant, Ja Rule tribute song.
Oh, thank you. I needed Chuck to understand that.
I had to explain the joke.
Yeah, no, that's my fault for not knowing any.
I got texts.
Yeah.
I got bleary-eyed textual pictures from Chuck around 3 a.m. Chuck and some of our loyal listeners, the Loyal Listener Legion, out very late last night at legendary haunt Dino's. And I texted Keith. I said, I wouldn't count on this early morning show firing off.
Yeah. Let our listeners know that it's 10 a.m. 10 a.m. was call time. 10 a.m. call. Haven't heard from Chuck. No text this morning.
To be fair, if Chuck was driving to your house from East Nashville, he probably needs 3 hours to get there.
Bring me up to speed pre-breakfast. So a lot of people know that we hosted a Grizzlies watch party for the lottery. I couldn't make it. Chuck and John, you guys held down the fort. Tell me everything. I haven't spoken to you since then. We've texted. I've seen the video.
I was pretty blown away by the turnout.
Man, well, I watched the video 50 times at least. It is there's the vague confusion, because the lottery is confusing. Yes, I would say
I had no idea what was going on, to be honest.
Right, so you were holding the camera, but once this was a Grizzlies party, and once the Grizzlies are at 9, 5 people start cheering because they understand that, all right, we didn't convey, that's fine. And then when the Grizzlies are at 8, almost everyone cheers, but it's a half-hearted wait, I can't remember what this means. But I was pretty excited. But then
Chuck's cheering because he knows I'm filming him.
Chuck is the star of the video. Chuck starts pumping his fist and
you need to pay attention. There's power listener Rudy St. Clair who is in not one but 2 Chandler Parsons jerseys because when the pick does not go our way, he rips off his Chandler Parsons jersey to reveal yet another Chandler Parsons jersey.
That's incredible. Thanks to listener Rudy. He drove from Knoxville. That's a solid,
he had a
2.5 hour
with him.
3-hour commute. But I did see in the video he was wearing a Chandler Parsons jersey. I didn't notice there was a second one. Yeah. That is pretty.
There's another one underneath. Pretty amazing.
That's pretty hilarious. So it all works out.
But it was like a slow. You ever watch the wave at a sporting event that takes a really long time to get going?
Uh-huh.
I think that was kind of how the figuring out what was going on with the lottery worked.
Well, I watched. I went and watched back some of the Ringers reaction video because I'm kind of in love with the Bill Simmons Ryan Russillo bromance, despite it all. I
really?
Yeah, I really enjoy it.
You're gonna get an apartment in Newberry.
Yeah, but it's the same thing where Bill Simmons, who's hosting this thing, who should know, he also becomes immediately confused at one point. He's like, "Wait, what does this mean?" And then he goes silent for a while. And that's how
no one has aged faster than Bill Simmons, the man who invented the internet world we live in.
I did like how also in our video of Chuck celebrating, Chuck starts going crazy, presumably that the Grizzlies aren't at 7, 6, or 5 spots they could not end up at no matter what. He gets more and more excited, which is great. It's good for the video.
When Chuck knows he's being filmed, it's a completely different beast.
Which is honestly why we need to go video podcast because
we're $20 away.
Yeah. Because Chuck lights up when the camera's on. Sometimes, when we're just recording the podcast and he's not on video, he forgets he's performing for people and starts resting his nose on the microphone.
He'll be perfect. I have so much work to do because I can't do my stink eyes anymore. And my whole faces that I make, I'm gonna have to really figure some things out.
I gotta say we need to come up. We've long needed to work on our hand signals Because sometimes, I point, and then like Chuck freezes.
Well, your spindly Ichabod Crane fingers have a mind of their own.
Yeah, I need to. We need to just get some placards we hold up. It's wrap it up.
Shut up.
Wrap it up. Anyway, John, day after the lottery, Wednesday morning, did you have breakfast? And where are you calling from? / why are you calling?
The last sign I'm calling from the back of my parents' RV.
Your parents have an RV?
They bought one. My parents came to visit me last weekend, and on the drive from my sister's to my house, just pulled over and bought an RV. It
was like the film about Schmidt.
I mean, it's more like I hate to let's see, Crapper's Fool from. It's more cousin Eddie from
Cousin Eddie. Gotcha.
Lampoons. I just don't I really. I'm blown away by it, but I'm sitting in the back of it. The last sign I saw was Calhoun, Georgia.
So you're on the road. I like this. The calling from did you have road breakfast?
My parents had Egg McMuffins, which I didn't know my parents had joined like modern society and ate fast food, but apparently they have. And I was going to try one, but the smell was so heinous that I have not eaten yet. I've never smelled. It was so sickly sweet smelling, very sweet smelling, and but no, it made me sick, and I said no, I don't want that.
Well,
no, I have not eaten breakfast.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I've only had the cups of coffee. I packed up the kids, got them off to school, came back. I've mainly just been, trying to catch up on what I missed. Apparently, there was a basketball game last night. The Warriors and the Trailblazers played, but
not much of one, brother.
Yeah, but I've just been catching up with the morning's news, the NBA news. Anyway, after our breakfasts, we moved to our breakfast in bed. Apologies. John, do you have anything that you need to make right? I mean, it's been a huge 6 days of basketball since we last spoke, but...
Well, my prognostications are fearfully prescient because I don't understand how the Blazers did what they did, but they did. So I have nothing to apologize on that front. I will go ahead and apologize for future iterations of myself poo-pooing this entire draft class because it's not going to be very fun. But that's what I'm going to do. And I'll go ahead and let Grizzlies fans know I'm fearful about our pick. But I would be fearful about like Zion even. So there's nothing for me to say that's positive about this draft class other than if there's ever one to trade down from, this would be it, I think.
So you're fine with Grizzlies not taking Ja Morant, who everyone seems to think they're supposed to take?
Keith, I've only seen a handful of games from him, but he's a small school guy, not really known for shooting.
Well, his shot's funny looking. It goes in, but it's kind of funny looking. This is based on me watching him play one game when he lost to our alma mater, Florida State, by 30.
I mean, that shot sure does start low, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And it sure takes a while to get going. But yeah, I'm no scout, as it were. But I love the small school guys, and I'm so into it. But I'm like way more into it at like a Dame Lillard-esque teens pick or a C.J. McCollum 22 pick.
Dame was number 6, I believe.
Wow, I mean,
because he's like the highest. Because he's like the highest drafted guy, still being important in the playoffs right now, while Kevin Durant doesn't play.
If you want to get excited about this pick, then Dame Lillard would be your comparison then.
Yeah,
because they had pretty similar trajectories. Leading scorer. I'm surprised the Blazers will probably finagle their way into this. Another guard who led the league in scoring, sign him up. But I really enjoyed him, and you know how much I love nifty passers, and he's probably the niftiest passer I've seen at the college level since, I don't know, Dan Dickow. so I mean, there's definitely some stuff I'm into, but I do think it's like a really poor draft class. And I'm not even sure about, Zion Williamson, as fun as he was at times, could just be Julius Randle. It's not a draft. I was more excited about the turnout at the Grizzlies watch party than I was the actual things happening. Because really, there were a lot more people than I fit in that video. We had the whole other area.
I think you were saying that the buzz among the attendees. There's just they were just thrilled there was no more Chris Wallace. He'd really turned into the boogeyman.
He really had. And
the weight had been lifted.
They really think it's going to be. We're just going to be great again now that he's gone.
Right.
I wanted to share the enthusiasm, but I still feel like the old regime is locked in.
No, I mean everyone was saying like that the guy who's in charge now, Zach Kleiman, was the guy making all the moves last year too. So
yeah,
I mean, it's all the same. It's all the same.
Yeah, that's how I feel. That's my apology. I apologize for my oncoming and ensuing pessimism.
I'm going to take it a different direction. My apology. I'm going to go ahead and say like we were so thrilled for the overwhelming, we thought was an overwhelming landslide victory of a trade months ago at the before the deadline when the Dallas Mavericks acquired Kristaps Porzingis. Since then, we've had the problematic report of some sexual assault, and now he got beat up in a bar in Latvia. I can only assume by some underground rogues led by Andris Biedrins or something. But
Pero Antic maybe.
Yeah. Well, Pero Antic, this might be where Chuck is. Pero Antic was actually just elected the president of the Northern Macedonian Federation,
presidential Pero,
which I think might have to. I think that might actually be. Wasn't that a Star Wars character? The Northern.
I think it's the Mandalorian bounty hunter. Boba Fett, Pero Antic, and Boba Fett.
But anyway, you saw the video of a bloodied and tattered Porzingis.
His shirt was ripped.
Did you dive into this at all, John? Like apparently, the word on the street was he got jumped by angry Russians who were Knicks fans.
Angry Knicks fan Russians.
Are we buying this?
Well, there's something I am way more into than actually what happened to Kristaps Porzingis. He had a friend, or presumably not a foe, with him, whose heart stopped and he died and had to be resuscitated post-fight. That is some very good Russian yayo.
It's upsetting. It was. I also thought maybe it was was it some part of a viral marketing for John Wick 3? I mean, is John Wick week? I didn't know if that was going to tie in. But
if there had been some rockabilly ladies hanging about, then I would have gone for it. Lance Reddick in the corner, inexplicably speaking with a Jamaican accent, then sure. But alas, I think it's just another chapter in Kristaps Porzingis' really weird life. I'm really surprised that him shoving the woman in the video didn't pick up more traction, but
yeah, I don't know. What was that? Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe that hashtag is faded from view. I don't know.
All right. Well, so those were our breakfast in bed apologies. Before we get to our steak and eggs best thing, we have a couple listener submitted questions. The croissant questionnaire.
Any questions?
Yes. Are you going to finish that croissant?
Knock yourself out.
That croissant. Finish that croissant. That croissant.
All right. Counterproduct asks, does LeBron wish he had joined the Clippers? Does LeBron wish he had joined the Clippers? Does he have regrets for being a Laker? What do you think, John?
I mean, I don't know. And I appreciate that question all the way from down under, Counterproduct. But I feel like normal people would say yes. They would look across the arena and think, wow, that seems pretty fun. Playoffs, coaching, Ballmer dancing. But I don't know what kind of world LeBron James lives in. It seems rather insular. He might, you know the meme, the everything is fine, it's fine meme.
Right.
This with everything burning around him. Right. That might as well be LeBron and Maverick Carter to me. They never seem phased.
Well, I think the Clippers are well set up to be good for a while. Jerry West just extended his involvement there with a contract extension to stay on board with the team. I think when you ask the question,
some underrated folksy sociopathic brilliance from Jerry West year in, year out.
I think when you look at, like, does LeBron wish he joined the Clippers, you have to go back to the question, like, did LeBron go to the Lakers for basketball reasons? And the answer is kind of no. Like, if LeBron wanted to win, he could have gone to the Clippers. He could have gone to the 76ers.
Stayed where he was.
He could have stayed where he was. Yeah, he could have gone to the Sixers, would have been a great spot. I feel like, I don't know if he could have worked out some kind of, like, way to get to, like, a Blazers team, if they would have worked out some kind of sign and trade, even though those are harder to do nowadays. I mean, you see, like, the Blazers right now, man, if they had a LeBron, to go with that backcourt, it seems like that would be a great fit. But we've talked a lot about, like, this fit was not basketball. I mean, he just wanted to be on the Lakers. I'm sure
he has visions of Sugar Plum Fairies and playing with Bronny Jr. dancing in his head, yeah. So probably not.
Yeah, well, what do you think? What do you think the number 4 pick does now for the Lakers? Because the Lakers, a big winner of the lottery,
gets packaged along with Lonzo to be shipped somewhere else. I don't know. Like I said, I feel like this draft class is, like, really miserable. So definitely at the 4 pick, like, after R.J. Barrett, I really don't I don't know anything about the European players this year or anything. So,
and I know
there needs to be some super deep sleepers. Some wingspan needs to come up.
I mean, and everyone knows, like, I don't follow college, but I do know that Darius Garland is represented by Clutch Sports. So he people are penciling in that for. I want to know the Pelicans, the Zion winner. If we're talking AD trades, I think it might have been Counterproducts who suggested it in our listener Slack. LeBron in the 4 pick for AD? Who says no? I mean, Drew Holiday, LeBron, and Zion? Come on now. I would watch that. I'd eat that up.
I enjoyed watching Bill Simmons float the Zion refusing to play for New Orleans poop disturbing.
I think we talk about that last week about the next level of player agency, of people seizing control of their futures, is like what we saw Porzingis. Porzingis, in year 4 of his rookie deal, saying, like, I'm not going to be here. And now, are they going to take it farther? Like,
It's funny because we call it next level, but, like, John Elway did this in, like, 1904.
It's true. Eli Manning, I think, also the same. But yeah, I mean, I wonder. Also, there was some talk about, like, they interviewed John Morant about, like,
what did Kurt Flood die for? I don't understand.
I think it's funny. I think it's funny when a guy like John Morant, like, you into Murray State and you're not cool with going to an NBA city, like,
right?
You're not really a big city claim yet, Mr. Small School. Anyway, our second question. From Feeling Minnesota. I thought this was Texamista, but it turns out it's Feeling Minnesota.
I tried to read this one and gave up halfway through, like a Russian novella.
Yeah. This is too long, didn't read, but I'm going to do it all. You are covertly invited by the CIA to an advanced control center within Area 51, which is the epicenter for the most advanced form of fully functioning artificial intelligence currently in operation on planet Earth. Kawhi Leonard.
Got it.
All right.
Okay. That's all right. There it is.
The engineers and scientists are jubilant that their last second shot algorithm succeeded in Game 7 by a margin of picometers. And now they are confident they have correctly programmed Kawhi AI to defeat mere mortals Giannis Antetokounmpo, then Kevin Durant consecutively en route to a Toronto Raptors NBA championship. But Kawhi AI, which I just want to pronounce Kawhi, is sorely lacking one thing: a personality. The CIA is looking to you, Fast Break Breakfast NBA podcast member, for advisements on direction and derivement of Kawhi AI's newfound personality, beginning in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. And the brasher, the better. New hair? Who does he beef with? How does he celebrate? Funny like Embiid or surly like Westbrook? Does he date a Kardashian or a Jenner, etc.? Also, this question has been edited.
I'm sad that he missed out on Kawhi net because it was right there. But the obvious answer to stay in the James Cameron verse is you just need a plucky Edward Furlong-esque presence for him to bounce his solemn simulacrum nature off of. Just let him continue being Kawhi. You need to draft like someone with a bowl cut that he can play off of, and all will be revealed. And hopefully it ends with Kawhi being lowered into lava, giving a thumbs up.
Well, yeah, he just needs a little foil. What if Nick Gilbert, son of Cavs owner Dan Gilbert?
Sign me up. Lustily booed, by the way, at the draft party. Lustily booed.
The new hair. I feel like does he need to do a beef? If we're trying to get Kawhi to add him, like when Data from Star Trek tried to add some personality,
sure,
like try to add that humor, try to add that love,
emotion chip.
I mean, maybe he just needs the right Tasha Yar. Maybe he needs the someone to unlock.
Too soon, Keith. I can't talk about Tasha Yar. Her death still sits with me.
It really does. The black tar got her. We're the right age. I remember Tasha Yar's uncovered back.
Oh yeah.
Very, 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 very special, formative.
Marina Sirtis, sex symbol.
Well, that's she's Dana Troy. Who was
Deanna Troy? Yeah. Oh, I'm just kicking out my TNG
you're still the other ones.
references.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, Tasha Yar, she had that soccer mom haircut. Marina Sirtis had the flowing locks and the skate. She even got a special sexy class uniform.
That's right. A very progressive, futuristic low cut.
Like the red guys were the dudes who got killed, and then you had the yellow officer uniforms. You had the William Riker's, big Richard energy. And then out of nowhere, apparently, if you're the psychic therapist, you got to wear like low cut, aquamarine, teal, scaly sex uniforms.
What they should have done is maybe that's just the Federation's just guidance counselor or counselor uniform. They should have brought in a man one time, also wearing the low cut. Just be like, that's just what counselors wear, man. That's
played by Peter McNichol.
All right, well, those were our croissant questionnaires, our listener submitted questions. If you would like to submit your own question, you have to become a Patreon supporter. You do that by going to patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. You can start at just $1 a month. You get access to exclusive bonus content, and you can submit your questions for the croissant questionnaire. Step it on up to $3 per month, maybe. Getting that slack where all the good stuff goes down, where the blow-by-blow of whatever Chuck did last night, I assume is in there. I haven't backtracked yet.
It probably involves hot chicken and marijuana.
It's all good. We had a listener come from out of town. Chuck's doing his job.
Director of hospitality.
Yeah. So support us at
what's gonna be me?
Patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast.
SeatGeek saves you time and saves you money. Two of the more important commodities in our lives these days. They aggregate ticket selling sites together, so you don't have to go to 8 sites and then, I'm going to look at the 9th one now because I'm not quite sure. I was totally that way, of course. And then they also rank every ticket based on value. So you look at the section you want to sit in, find that big green dot, the darker green, the better. You'll start to experience just endorphins when you see that green dot and know that you're getting an awesome deal on the ticket. I used SeatGeek to go to a Bucks Wizards game, got awesome seats there for my fiance and me. So the way to get started with them, download the SeatGeek app and enter that familiar promo code
FastBreakBreak.
By using that code to get $20 off your first SeatGeek purchase. That's promo code
FastBreakBreak
for $20 off your first SeatGeek purchase. Let them know that you came from us.
FastBreakBreak. John is an asshole. FastBreakBreak.
All right, steak and eggs, best thing. What's the best thing you saw? What do you got? Is it just draft pick or is it basketball?
Nah, KD-less Warriors.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that's a pretty boring pick, and I'm sure it's all over the Twitterati, but boy, that was fearful to watch and beautiful. Just the annihilation.
Did you
I
like?
I admire its purity, a perfect killing organism.
So a lot of people, even Warriors fans, have that nostalgia for like the the pre Katie Durant, the less hated, the Splash Brothers, and I gotta say, before all the lottery excitement, before even the Game 7s on Sunday, I thought Friday night's Game 6 Warriors Rockets was the apex of basketball for me for the season. It was riveting. The game was amazing. You had the Rockets as 6.5 point to 7 point favorites. I was getting texts from just some of my
largest of the Cara.
I was getting texts from buddies who were like, "Hey, the Rockets are definitely losing this game, right?" And I was like, "It seems like it." I mean, this is a scenario the Rockets had found themselves in before. 2 years ago, they had a Game 6 at home in the Western Conference semifinals against the Spurs with Kawhi Leonard being injured, and they lost that game by 39 or 40 or something. So, people were talking about the Rockets are they going to lose this game at home? And then the way it played out, I mean, maybe it's just
brutal.
It was part of my I like the Warriors. I know everyone dislikes them. I really enjoy the Warriors, and especially the guilt-free KD. Less Warriors.
I don't see how you can like the KD Warriors.
Yeah. So and I don't really like the Rockets. So that game, the 33-point second half from Steph Curry, that was some Mad Max Fury Road, just pure energy. I was hyped after that game. I was like, that was amazing. The way it played. I mean, so yeah. What's
interesting about it is it was not amazing for an entire half.
Well, so that
and then it was like they kicked the dust off. And once he hit his stride, it was terrifying.
I do like the really choppy, broken, lots of missed shots and kind of bad play of high stakes playoff games. I enjoy it. The Game 7s
having a ball.
Those
Game 7s must have really.
Yeah. So I'll do that for my. So that's I guess that's my best thing. My best thing is honestly, I guess it's is it too basic? Just the basketball of the weekend. The Friday night, again, blown away by that Rockets-Warriors game. I thought that was the best stuff. That was the extreme drama. That was better than anything I've seen in a Game of Thrones episode in a couple of years. That was the drama of television. The scriptwriter set it up perfectly.
I see what you mean, but we did have a quad overtime game the week before. So, there's been plenty of drama. I have to hard disagree with you on those Game 7s. Particularly Nuggets Blazers. That was one of the worst games of basketball I've ever watched in my life.
Well, so it was painful, and I think our listeners know. I was pulling for the Nuggets. I'm happy for all the Blazer boys out there. I'm happy for the Blazers now. Making the Western Conference Finals. Dame and CG. That's a good accomplishment. But again, yes, the game was gross. But those gross games, man. It's just so tense. It's the tension makes it worth it for me. I enjoy that. I was standing up and pacing. I was so
really like, Keith?
Nervous. What's this? What's that?
College basketball.
No, I don't.
It really resembles that. Lots of missed shots.
That is true. But again, as I've said, I always get enraged at it in college basketball because I always feel like the coaches or refs do weird things, and I just this is too painful. It's too much chance. It feels like watching the lottery again, where it's just it's a complete chance. This one is more. I don't know. I guess maybe I'm so accustomed to it. It doesn't bug me. But also the Game 7, the Kawhi Leonard, if he was a robot, perfectly programmed to make that shot. So we get the Game 7, the Nuggets, Blazers, the excitement. And then I'm sitting there thinking, are two road teams going to win Game 7s on the road in the same day? That Nuggets game was so reminiscent for me of the Grizzlies had a Game 7 at home. Also on Mother's Day, that was a very early start. That was a noon start for the Grizzlies, 7 years ago that I was at, where they lost to the Clippers. And then the Nuggets had the early start, the 1:30 Mountain Time start, where they lost at home. But then I'm watching, my boy Gasol, and they're struggling, they're falling apart. They gave up a 17-0 run or 16-0 run in the third quarter. And then Jimmy Butler does this thing at the very end. He ties the game. And coming down to that Kawhi shot, a Game 7 to go to the conference finals, it was the Hollywood ending, and we say that cliche a lot, but this was actually it. It was almost corny. The bouncing around on the rim.
It was like the end of a Friday Night Lights episode, only basketball.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like
Yeah.
Friday Night Lights, a well-regarded TV series that I
was
could
ready
not...
for explosions in the sky to start. Long sustained notes on a terrible amp.
Yeah, no, I was saying like Friday Night Lights, a show that was so corny, I couldn't make it through a season, even though everyone says it's good. I'm like, this is
The sports moments were preposterous, but no less preposterous than the end of that game, which begs the question: at what point? Okay, so he's got to hit a three, right?
Yeah. Well, he doesn't have to. He can hit any shot. I mean,
do you just tackle him as soon as he gets the ball within 2 and go to overtime?
No, it was a tie game. It was a tie game.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, what do you? His defense is so perfect.
Yeah, you couldn't have done anything differently. Like
what else is Jimmy Butler supposed to do?
Yeah, I mean there's the photos of like Joel Embiid is almost falling down. He's jumping so hard to try to block the shot.
Kawhi is taking a dump.
Yeah,
squatting in the woods. I mean, watching it live was I guess, can we get to our worst of the week?
Yeah. So what's the opposite of the steak and eggs? Your cream of wheat worst of the week.
The trauma of watching Marc Gasol, my favorite player, console my other favorite player, Joel Embiid, who was openly ugly crying at the end of that game, was too much emotion for this old heart.
Your worst of week is feeling the human emotions.
Ugh. Allie looked over at me and said, "You are making a face." I couldn't handle it. I really didn't know how to feel about that game. As it went on, I was just ready to not watch Mark play for another team anymore. So I was full Sixers by the end. And I do think these two teams, it's kind of like like a low key, very important series for both of those teams. Like, I feel like both of them are in supreme win now modes almost.
Right.
Everyone talks about the Sixers having a bright future, but I don't know. Like, I don't know. I feel weird about that organization, and I feel weird about this moment in time, and feel like this is the time for them to make a run, as opposed to trying to reload that bizarre roster. I worry about Joel going forward. Like, we may be watching, kind of one of those Ralph Sampson types who has a very, it's afterburners. It doesn't last long. And then this Toronto team, like, for all the questions I just laced about the Sixers, like, who knows what this team will be. So there's just a lot riding that made you kind of sick to watch. And then it was a gruesome game, but it kind of fit. The Blazers Nuggets game being gruesome really sucked because that's not what those teams do. Mm-hmm. This being more of a grindhouse affair was okay. Like, it kind of fit. It fit the defensive narrative of this game. So I enjoyed this game a lot more. And then it had, probably the best ending in playoff history besides Bird steals the ball.
You are so obsessed with Bird steals the ball.
Bird steals the ball is the greatest thing I've ever seen as a sports fan.
Yeah, I think this is. I mean, Bird steals the ball has the history now, or the nostalgia.
No, it's not that. It was over. The game was over.
Well, I mean, it was the same thing where, like, he steals the ball. What is it? They're down 1 or 2. They're down 1.
Isaiah Thomas could have taken the ball and spiked it on the floor. It on the floor, and the game is over.
They just had to inbounds the ball.
Yeah. I mean, that game is over. Like, It's impossible that happened.
Right.
Can a guy hit a contested shot? Absolutely. Can the ball magically go from Isaiah Thomas's hands to Dennis Johnson's hands in 1.5 seconds? No.
Yeah.
That's an insane. The only other thing that touches it for me, Courtney Lee, or the who's the guy who flicked it behind his head super fast? 0.4 seconds.
And the Ralph Sampson, the Ralph Sampson shot, is that the?
That one's amazing, but I'm talking more recently in the NBA, meaningless game.
Yeah. I can't.
I can't believe I've forgotten.
It was someone hilarious who did it.
Yes, I'm so embarrassed I've forgotten his name. I want to say, and he also puts up hilarious stats anytime he plays. It's like a double machine. Washington Wizards ding dong. I'll remember tomorrow. Game of scones.
Yeah, a lot of people are going back to the Sixers. The Sixers, like, this all played out so terribly for them. Like, they still have Ben Simmons, they still have Joel Embiid. They can bring back Tobias Harris, they can bring back Jimmy Butler if they
brought back
want,
Brett Brown, which was rumored to not happen.
if they want to. Brett Brown rolling into the post game conference in like the Tony Sopranos or a Michael Imperioli tracksuit with like the old man reading glasses,
complete with the voice. By the way, he's Uncle Junior.
Brett Brown is one of the most handsome guys in the NBA. He's aged like a president over the last 12 months.
Oh yeah,
he's gotten so old. But this is a team that I mean, we're not going to relitigate the whole like process thing, but like they traded all the picks for these guys. The trade with the Sacramento Kings, like the pick swap, ended up being kind of bad. Like none of those picks panned out really. Like they lost the Markelle Fultz, and now this is like they just have this team, and like they're good, but it's not like it. I feel like it worked out in one of like the worst possible scenarios. Just the random.
They're
bounce
good,
the ball.
but there's no longer this like, God, they have these 3 young studs, and there's no question marks at all about their bright future. That's gone to me. Like, I don't know anything about Elton Brand, what he's doing or why he's doing it. I don't know. A lot of question marks there. So to me, like, that loss felt like, I don't know. I felt it was pretty devastating in more ways than one.
I know the Sixers fans probably not into it, but other fans, we can play this fun hypothetical game. Joel Embiid for Anthony Davis.
I don't think you can do it. I mean, the Sixers, like Philadelphia, definitely wouldn't. Like, there's like more than basketball reasons there. But also, like, but the fact that I had to hesitate is interesting.
Well, so Anthony Davis is 1 year older than Joel Embiid,
right?
Which I feel like gets lost a lot.
Hey, man. When it's players who can make lion hunting stories and people believe them, the age questions get even murkier.
Yeah. So I mean, like, I feel like that would be, I don't know. I feel like if I'm the Sixers, that's something that I would do. I mean, I guess in a vacuum unrelated from media and everything, because there's so much tied up in Joel Embiid. Because like, as good as Joel Embiid, as amazing as he is, like he obviously struggled against the Raptors. Whatever he was sick or whatnot, like
right, and also playing against Mark the Shark.
Yeah, Mark the Shark again. It's 9 out of 10 games.
But I will say this: there's been talk of Joel Embiid struggling. He was the best player for the Sixers, and he was. If you're watching, I mean, even relatively closely, I feel like you would notice that he is like the most important player on the floor for them at all times defensively.
Oh,
by far.
He was the first. And I'll say, Basketball Reference pointed out he was the first player ever.
Yeah.
He played 45 minutes and was a +10, and his team lost.
Yeah.
That's right. That's pretty bad. And it's pretty wild. So like, I threw this out in our Slack, and it was met with some resistance. I thought one of the surprises of the NBA playoffs was, to me, it looked like Joel Embiid's aerobic conditioning was worse than Nikola Jokic's. Like, I thought Joel Embiid was like, seems like he was just dragging all the time. He rebounded terribly the whole series. Like, Jokic, had those the quadruple overtime where he wasn't even moving in those overtimes. But like, Jokic brings the ball up the court. Jokic is like running picks and screens the whole time on offense. I thought, despite the doughy appearance
in Denver, he plays in Denver. I think even if you throw out the Embiid sick stuff, I still think people. I think Sixers fans would tell you that there have been questions about Embiid's conditioning.
Yeah,
I think that's followed him around for a long time, and to the point now we're getting like annoying we have sideline psychologists, now we have sideline dietitians.
Right.
But I don't think you're crazy for throwing that out. I mean, I was more discouraged by people who would want to like compare, and I think you also threw this out there too, would want to compare Jokic and Embiid, their like statistical prowess in these series when they were such different. I mean, on one end you have a guy being guarded by Myers Leonard, and on the other end you have a guy being guarded by Marc Gasol.
Right,
It was just
right.
they're just two things that shouldn't be taken. They like not even they're not right. They're not comparable. You know, I do think these two guys showed themselves like. If you just watch those two series, you see how these guys are both like MVP candidates, like legitimately.
I will, in the interest of fairness, as much as we talk about Marc Gasol, having success against Joel Embiid, that's on the defensive end. When Mark and Joel play each other, it's mutually assured destruction. I think now
Mark's not even trying to do anything on offense. It's almost it's just different.
In 10 career games, I think Embiid is shooting 37%. Against Gasol, but Marc Gasol, I think, is shooting like 40%,
20
or 39. No, he's still higher, but it's like it's pretty rough. My worst thing, also going back,
I want to ask you one question because you brought up Embiid and Jokic over and over and over again.
Yeah,
whose team is worse without them?
That segues perfectly into my worst of week.
Okay,
and I think the answer is the Nuggets team, because we discovered in the playoffs. The Nuggets, honestly, with a dream second-round matchup. I mean, no disrespect to the Trailblazers, but if you get to say, hey,
I don't know how the Nuggets lost that series.
You get to play the Trailblazers without Nurkic to go to the Western Conference Finals. You take that every time. We discovered your boy, Monte Morris, fraud.
Whoa.
Like, gigantic, huge fraud.
Couldn't even make free throws.
What's that juicer that raised like $100 million or something in
Shamwell Vitamix?
Yeah, whatever that. Yeah, Monte Morris, huge fraud. The whole bench is a huge fraud. In games 6 and 7. So my worst thing is just the Nuggets. The Nuggets going from up 3-2 and losing the series in the manner they lost it. They blew so many games in this series. Where like I am actually taking some credit away from the Trailblazers. The Nuggets could not hit open shots. In game 6, the non-Jokic Nuggets shot 22 for 71, which is atrocious. In game 7, the non-Jokic Nuggets shot 22 for 63, including 0 for 13 from 3. They had their second game. They had their second game of the series where they shot under 40%. They shot like under, I think, 20% from 3 and under 75% from the line. Like, they missed so many free throws. In a 4-point game 7, Dame Lillard did not have it going on offense. And still, like, CJ McCollum carried him. And that's why, like, you predicted the Blazers to make the Western Conference Finals before the playoffs started.
I'm insane.
When I went on CNN Philippines, I regretted it after game 5, but I thought the Blazers would also carry, like, I picked the Nuggets, but after watching the first 4 games, I favored the Blazers because I trusted the ball in their hands, Lillard and McCollum. But just
they had stolen games that they shouldn't have won. That's like playing with house money,
Right, and we credit that to like having these guards who know what they're doing, who are battle tested NBA players who are very good. So CJ McCollum and Damian Lillard stole this series from the Nuggets. So to go all the way back to your question, that means I do think that the Nuggets without Jokic are worse than the Sixers without Embiid. But like the Sixers without
Embiid, close, man. They
had a terrible series, but I think they were playing a much tougher opponent.
Absolutely. I think the Sixers go from being like one of the best defensive NBA teams in the NBA with Embiid on the floor to like one of the worst. And I know that's a lot because it's built around him, but it's just so crazy to watch. But yeah, and it was also kind of like you would watch Jokic get really frustrated during that series. I don't know if you noticed.
Yeah.
And you also would see Embiid get really frustrated. Sometimes I think Embiid was frustrated with himself and his body not doing what he wanted it to. But you could see a lot of the frustrations for these like linchpin players, which I thought was interesting to watch, and I think will be interesting to watch going forward because I feel like both guys have a lot of drive. And that's another thing. Like I almost made it my best if the KD-less Warriors weren't such a terrifying joy to watch. But like the state of the league is in good hands as far as like future stars, and seeing a playoffs without LeBron has been pretty fun because there's a lot of really good players coming down the pipeline.
So of the teams eliminated in the semifinals or the each conference semifinals,
Right.
How do you rank them between the Rockets, Sixers, Nuggets, and Celtics? Like if there was a tournament of
Celtics last by quite a bit. Like if they were playing each other, you mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the Rockets would win.
Yeah, I mean, I think we could. I agree. Rockets won. Who would win a Nuggets Sixers series? Would you think if it was neutral court?
I think the Sixers. I think the Sixers would win.
Yeah,
I love those. I love them nuts. I mean, the Nuggets couldn't get the sand up to win a series that was being handed to them.
I keep thinking
they should be the most depressed fan base while also being like, well, they literally can go. We'll get them next year. These other teams, I don't know if they can.
Yeah, that's the thing where like, how depressed should Nuggets fans be? Because like, as someone like hardcore on the bandwagon, I'm very depressed. They played so badly.
There's a reason why like the Sixers when they lost, and some of it was the last second shot of it all. Like people openly sobbing and weeping, and then Nuggets fans just like, "Hey, we're just happy to be here. We made it this far. All right."
Yeah, they're kind of like, well, that's what the Nuggets are, like complete failure when you think you're about to get something. But yeah, it's one of those like I feel like they couldn't have played much worse, but maybe that just reflects kind of who they were. Maybe this team is a team that shoots 39% in the playoffs because they can't do their normal regular season stuff. Let's do a real quick.
Trevor Booker. I remembered. Trevor Booker.
Oh yeah,
greatest last second shot ever.
Is Trevor Booker in the big three yet? He definitely should be.
Is he a ghost baller? I'm excited about Josh Jackson being in the big three. By the way, that's a great story.
Oh, Josh Jackson! This is why I wanted
Chuck
to be here.
Was on the show. His daughter having been at the Miami Festival that Josh Jackson escaped from the police. Like new nickname for him, Papillon. Incredible story.
Has he turned himself in yet? Is he still on the lam?
Is he still in cuffs?
Well, did he get arrested? I felt like he ran away.
He escaped wearing handcuffs.
That's incredible.
New favorite NBA player.
So
by the way, he looks so old in his pictures, and he's like 22, and he looks like Greg Oden's dad.
He's got the old face. Is his hair grown back out? I haven't seen it. I love that he
should have never cut that fro.
I like that he went with the shorter hair. Let's do a little scattered, smothered, covered, looking at the lottery, the stuff that went down. What were some of your favorite moments? I will say the thing I like the most, completely subjectively. I love, even throwing out the Grizzlies, I love this draft order. I love that, like, the worst teams got punished. I like that the Cavs and Knicks, and even the Knicks, technically, the Knicks won the lottery. Like, the Knicks got an upper, you got an upper, like, percentile result. Like, that's in your 70th, I think, percentile of best things that could happen. Like, you won. You ended up at the third pick. But
let's make no mistake, this is all rigged, and the Cavs were due.
No, like
they had to even out all the years of conspiracy theorizing and finally put the bullet in the Cavs' dome.
Well, people still think that it's some people are still doing the conspiracy.
If there's a conspiracy, this was a perfect time for them to mess with it.
Well, they're saying they're keeping the Pelicans alive.
You can still count me with Kyrie. They want this franchise to survive. This is a perfect year. Now that LeBron's not in Cleveland anymore, you can go ahead and stop helping them out. Look at the Lakers suddenly get an amazing pick. The conspiracy's alive and well.
I like that. So, I mean, I love, I guess, the storyline of the Pelicans of going with AD. I actually honestly like the Lakers jumping up. Like, that makes the league more interesting to me. It's a better league when the Lakers are good. Well, that their trade chip increased so much in value. Right. I feel bad for the Atlanta Hawks, who had an unbelievable, like almost statistically worst case scenario for them to end up with the 8th and 10th picks when it seemed screwed. Their odds of getting the first pick, they had 10% odds of getting the first pick and only 8% odds of going all the way down to 8. That's pretty bad.
I would say they are the losers of the draft.
They're definitely losers. Like the Wizards ending up at 9. That's a pretty big loser. Like this is a team that like kind of should have tanked it out more and then ended up with decent percentages. Like they ended up, at that tie, or I guess right above the. They were tied. No, they were one worse or better, if you will, than the Pelicans, Grizzlies, Mavericks. The Mavericks one is hilarious. The Mavericks legit tanked. Like they shut it. They shut it down hard, and then they were tied, with the Pelicans and the Grizzlies, and then there was that tiebreaker drawing where the Mavs ended up last in the tiebreaker and end up with the 10th pick, while the Grizzlies get the second and the Pelicans get the first pick. I will say it's not great.
Have some of that, Cubes, you moralist monster.
It's not great for the Western Conference's dominance, or I mean, it is. It's not great for the balance of power again. Where, especially even like the Southwest Division, next year is adding Porzingis, the 1 pick and the 2 pick.
Keith.
Yeah.
This draft class, don't worry about it, man.
Oh, don't worry about it.
Just roll through it.
What do you think as a Grizzlies fan? We can scratch our Grizzlies fan listener itch. What do we do with Mike Conley now? Is Ja Morant a guy that he wants to play with? Is he excited about now having Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. together? Does he want to help grow this big core? Can they play together? Or is he still looking to get out of Dodge?
I absolutely think they can play together. I think they're pretty different types of players. I think they absolutely can play together. I don't make point to them playing together. I don't know if they I don't understand how the Grizzlies value players. I don't understand the machinations of how they trade players. I can't pretend to look inside look into a pig's eye and know what it's thinking. I'm completely lost and flummoxed when talking about this organization. I think trade value for Conley is somehow incredibly low now. So why trade him?
See, I actually feel I feel like the trade value for Conley actually might have been helped out, or I feel like this lottery order might actually help the Grizzlies in a trade. I feel like you could see a team like the Suns and the Bulls break away from like the dunked on hive mind of let's use our 6 and our 7 pick. I feel like you could convince one of those teams like, hey, you are a point guard away. You were a point guard away from being that good. Conley's only got 2 years left on that deal. It's no longer this onerous big contract. It's now just like, it's a max contract for guys who are going to give you 2 years. I feel like you could convince the Suns to be like, hey, why don't you give us Josh Jackson, I will say VIP crasher and Tyler Johnson and the 6th pick, and maybe we'll give you a 2nd round pick and Mike Conley. I feel like that's something that again, most people, most hipster NBA capologists would say no, you shouldn't do that. But like James Jones might say like, yes, let's do this.
Boy, there's a steep drop off after the 3rd pick though. But I will say I was very glad that the Grizzlies at least postured that they're not going to take Ja Morant and that they're totally happy with Mike Conley. That is what you should do for the value of the trade.
I do like the fun. This is the funniest thing I saw. I saw someone like people getting hyped about the Grizzlies, and they were like, just imagine next year, the Grizzlies.
Pick and roll.
No, they're like Ja Morant, DeLon Wright, Jonas Valanciunas, Jaren Jackson Jr., and then like we'll trade for Jaylen Brown. I was like, even if somehow the Celtics would give you Jaylen Brown for Mike Conley, which they will not. That lineup you just listed is awful. Like, if Jonas Valanciunas and DeLon Wright are in your, like, this starting lineup is going to be, like, very bad. Like, very bad.
Here's how every conversation I had with every Grizzlies fan at the lottery party went. Hey, man, how you doing? What do you think about the Grizzlies? Man, and they go, oh, man, I'm really in. I think Jonas Valanciunas could be the truth. And then me just going, uh-huh. Turning off my brain.
Well, again, like my such limited knowledge of Ja Morant seems like a driver. Seems like someone you don't want a Valanciunas and a Jaren Jackson in the game at the same time with. And like maybe they move on. Maybe they move on from Kyle Anderson. My favorite Grizzly. But like,
All I know is Mike Conley's an excellent catch and shoot 3-point shooter.
I mean, I love having Mike Conley at the 2. I'm in the situation where I can't decide if I want. This has been my question for a while. I can't decide what I want the Grizzlies to do. I feel like there is some value in, all right, so we have John Morant, we have Jaren Jackson Jr. Let's get everyone on the same page and let's get the same age, like range. Let's trade Conley for even like a mediocre thing. Let's trade him to the Pistons for the 15 pick. Let's just do maybe the Celtics. The matching salaries would be tough, but if Kyrie Irving leaves, maybe the Celtics will give us their 14 pick and like one of their later picks, like the picks in the 20s. Like, would I trade Mike Conley for like the 14 and 22 pick? Maybe that's a good idea. I don't know, but then it's also complicated because of keeping this pick. The Grizzlies still owe that pick next year. They can't trade a first round pick till 2022.
Oh, just keep conveying it. Keep conveying it as the Celtics get worse and worse. I love it.
Yeah, because the Celtics also.
That was my big argument with people who wanted to. The Celtics are no longer projected towards the heights of the East right now. Man, look at that organization. It's weird right now.
What's your? Do you have?
Let's let it chill out. Let's let that pick get a little lower.
I like it. Were there any other lottery related thoughts? I think a big loser is I know they were like a Hail Mary hope. I think a big loser is the Charlotte Hornets not getting a Hail Mary. Like they're just done. I mean, Kemba's leaving. They have nothing. They're
I'll
capped
just throw
out.
out a hot tip for sharp-eared listeners. Any Grizz trivia at a lottery party of ours, the answer is always Stromile Swift. Just keep that in your hearts, and you'll get the prize. Just say Stromile. You may not know who he is, but remember the word Stromile Swift.
Oh, what do you think? What do you think about the Pelicans with Julius Randle? Julius Randle, who took a make good contract at the mid level last year, looking to sign a bigger deal. Can Zion and Julius play together? Like
they
Zion
may be
is much
effectively the same player, so let's find out.
but body style, but not game style. I know enough about Zion and know they're
Sure.
not the. But like Zion, I mean, Julius is play
really
some
similar.
5. Like Julius, I mean, is Zion supposed to be like a 4? Julius at the 5? Does that make any sense at all, or is that just like a atrocious defensively?
I feel like Zion needs to end up as a 3. Am I insane? I might be insane. I do not care about Julius Randle. I think he's one of the more overrated players in the NBA. I feel like if you're starting him, you're a bad team. I think it's noteworthy that he doesn't always start for the aforementioned bad team Pelicans. So I feel like it's much ado about nothing.
Yep. Well, let's move to the awards segment of the program. The International Stackhouse of Pancakes Award.
Should be some doozies.
Given each week to the worst performance in a box score. Not that many games in the last 6 days. I've actually appreciated the days off from the basketball. But we have 3 nominees as they occurred all in the same game. This is Denver and Portland, Game 7. Paul Millsap, 3 for 13, 10 points, 7 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 blocks, and a foul out. Damian
4 fouls on the wrong end of the court.
Damian Lillard in the elimination game was 3 for 17. 13 points, but 10 boards.
Yeah.
10 boards, 8 assists, 3 steals, a turnover, and 3 personal fouls. And then
Can't do it.
Jamal Murray, 4 for 18, 17 points, 6 boards, 5 assists, 1 turnover, 1 personal foul. So you're saying you like Jamal Murray at 4 for 18 instead of Damian Lillard 3 for 17.
Blue arrow with a bullet, and I'm going to deviate from the path for just a moment because I wanted to talk about this.
Okay.
Jamal Murray is not seasoned enough veteran, not superstar enough player to give the minimal amount of effort he gives on defense.
He was
You're
so
not
bad.
there yet.
They kept running
You're not
plays
there
for
yet.
his guy, man.
You don't get
hard
to do
watch.
that. Your teams are attacking you. It was to the point where you can't play Murray. That's where it was for them. So, and even you have guys like James Harden and Steph Curry who are known to, and I know Steph Curry is now known as a better defender, but for a long time, was known as somebody you could pick on, and Harden is somebody you can pick on. But they're still going to, especially in big games, give maximum effort. Jamal Murray giving little to no effort in huge games, that's not a good sign.
I couldn't decide if
waiting for offense in a game 7 isn't something that should be happening.
So I couldn't decide if it was no effort or just abysmal ability. Just like they would run out of every timeout, the Blazers would run a play to get his man wide open for a shot because they know they could trick him on like one screen or like just move the ball, screen somebody, move the ball around the horn, and Jamal Murray's guy will have like tricked him and slid to the corner and be wide open.
I see what you mean, but perhaps I'm ascribing intent to something that I shouldn't, but it looks to me like minimal effort. It really does. Like Jokic sucks at defense, but you can always tell he's trying. And perhaps maybe he just has a really laconic visage. Maybe that's his whole problem. Maybe he just looks like he's not trying. But it was maddening to me. But yeah, I think it's Jamal Murray's slam dunk.
Although that isn't in the box score, John. Is lack
you don't
of
think so?
effort.
I know. But
lack
even
of
in the
effort
box score.
But no, I'm with you. I'm with you. He had the fewer assists, the fewer rebounds, no steals. Damian Lillard got 3 steals, and the W.
What's Millsap's numbers again? Put those side by side.
Just again. 3 for 13. 3 for 13. He had 10 boards, 10 points, 7 boards. Yeah, I think Jamal Murray is a very worthy winner of this week's International Stackhouse of Pancakes Award. Get some help, Denver Nuggets. I don't know how they do that. They don't have anything. I think this is the team that should get my boy Mike Conley. Make Jamal Murray just not have to worry about that stuff.
Every team for Mike Conley.
Every team needs Mike Conley.
I heard you say Mike Conley, Chris Paul for Mike Conley.
Well, Chris Paul, man, Chris Paul fell apart.
And then was the Rockets' best player the very next game.
I don't know.
You watched that. You watched it.
I'm still holding games 4 and 5 against him. He did, man. You know, Chris Paul balled out game 6. Even James Harden had a pretty good game, but not a good look narrative wise. Once again,
Chris
losing.
Paul's gonna be one of the all time what if careers.
Yeah.
He is up there with the Barclays as best player to never win a championship, best player to never even make it close to a championship. Yeah. I mean, that guy's going to have a strange career to look back on.
All right, so par fadeaway, John. What are you looking forward to? It can be coming week. It can be the actual draft. What do you got coming up? Or like what's going on with the playoff games?
Just Buck. I am as into Bucks Raptors as I am out of. It's not very fun to watch Dubs Blazers.
I think the Blazers are going to rally. I think it's going to be a good series.
They have played the Dubs traditionally well. The season series was like 2-1 or something like that. Even with Nurk out, I don't know. I feel like the Blazers are in huge trouble because the Dubs the urgency is there.
I don't know.
And it hasn't, even in the playoffs, the urgency has not been there, which is frightening.
I think you're I would guess that's ascribing a lot to the game 1 performance. Like the Warriors were definitely locked in, looked awesome.
I could see, I think I called for him to drop a game against the Blazers. I could see him dropping a game. If they steal 2, I'll be really, really surprised.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be an okay series. I mean, it might be like a vaguely competitive 5 game. I don't think the Blazers are gonna get rolled. I think they're gonna.
What do you call it? The gentleman's sweep? I see either a sweep or a gentleman's sweep.
Yeah, I mean, although Lillard has been rough again for a few games in a row, and he's kind of grabbing some legs, maybe looking gimpy a couple plays.
Oh, he's the Embiid of on that side. He always looks really, really winded. Whereas C.J. McCollum, who just looks like a little kid, is running around full speed all the time. C.J. McCollum, one of the stories of the playoffs, by the way, incredible.
Yeah, definitely raised his stock. I guess I'm looking forward to the continued nuanced discussion about tanking. I feel like too many people are right now are taking a victory lap.
What is wrong with you?
I will say, so people are saying the lottery fixed tanking. No. It did not fix tanking. And then other people are saying like,
you're like, I'm looking forward to Thanksgiving for the political arguments with my family.
Tanking is not fixed. Things went fine. I think we saw like the teams that were really bad did not try to lose their games necessarily down the stretch. That was good. That was a victory. You had Bulls, Cavs trying to win. You had Pelicans Pelicans might have thrown a game. Pelicans threw that game against the Suns where they called all the extra timeouts. Then that's why they have Zion. So it's nuanced.
Changing my parfait away. My parents just pulled into a Bojangles parking lot. My parfait away is the Bojangles I'm about to consume.
That's great. I'm also looking forward to hearing what Chuck is up to. He has just texted. He's awake and forgot to set the alarm. So there we are.
It is.
All right. If you want to support our program, hear more about Chuck's big night, you can do that on the Slack chat at patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. You can follow us on Twitter at fastbreakbreak. Like us on Facebook and on Instagram. All right. You guys are the best. Thanks for listening. And remember, breakfast is the most important thing.
Hey now.
Yeah, never apologize for being G&G. Fair break, man. You understand?